You're watching CBS News Los Angeles, The Rundown.
Hello, I'm Amy Johnson. Here's a look at our top stories. A major warning from the Environmental Protection Agency today. It says cyber attacks against water utilities nationwide are growing. And here to give us insight is cybersecurity expert Sean Tufts. He's the managing partner at Optiv. Thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Great topic.
Well, what are the potential impacts of these cyber attacks against our water systems?
Yeah, water systems are super delicate. It turns out getting liquid into every home in America, every business in the U.S. is a challenge. And a lot of those systems have not had the luxury of high margin. So we haven't updated those things like we want to. So some simple threat actors with some simple tools, commoditized ransomware, easy things off the shelf, they could cause an outage. More advanced actors are going to do different things and have different tasks. So they're looking at gaining information, and they're looking at what happens if, escalations rise and we have to make a bigger take on America. What do those pieces and parts look like? How can we impact operations more?
Well, in its report, the EPA said 70% of facilities violated standards that are meant to help prevent these kinds of attacks. So why do you think that is?
There's just a lot of legacy infrastructure out there. We're still operating our grid, our water systems, our manufacturing environments off of Windows 98. That's not an exaggeration. We haven't had the money to invest to modernize those systems. So when we talk about doing awesome, cool cybersecurity programs, we're still a little handcuffed.
Well, we've reported on recent attacks against other facilities, but what other infrastructure can be targeted and what can be done to prevent these other threats?
After Colonial, it changed a lot. Colonial looked and felt like an act of war, if we were able to pinpoint who was doing that, which people tried, and not my game. Once people started realizing we were throwing that word around, they started going after softer targets. So they moved away from pipelines, they moved away from the electricity grid, they moved somewhat away from water, and they're targeting multi-nation manufacturing environments. So those are a little more soft targets and have a higher threshold of attacks hitting them. So things like distribution centers for retail, food manufacturing, all those have had a much greater cyber threat actor pinging their firewalls.
All right, so really got to update those systems to keep the system safe. Thank you so much, Sean Tufts. We appreciate your time and your insight.
Thank you.
Well, former President Donald Trump's hush money trial resumed today in New York. The prosecution rested its case, turning the trial over to the defense. During cross-examination, former Trump attorney Michael Cohen admitted to jurors that he stole thousands from Trump's company. Closing arguments in the trial could come at the end of this week. Well, rapper Sean Diddy Combs is apologizing for the disturbing video showing him assaulting then-girlfriend Cassie Ventura back in 2016. CNN obtained the video 6 months after Ventura filed and settled a lawsuit against Combs.
My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video.
Combs admitted to the video, which shows him chasing Ventura in a hotel hallway and assaulting her. Combs faces multiple accusations from different people, including sexual assault, physical abuse, and forced druggings. He has denied all claims of wrongdoing until his video responding to the hotel incident that was made public last week. Well, still ahead at 3 o'clock, we're going to have a live interview with a legal expert to discuss the potential ramifications Combs faces in light of the hotel incident and recent investigations. Well, a chilling discovery in Loma Linda where skeletal remains were found in a backyard. Kcal News reporter Jasmine Veal is working on that investigation today.
Well, I'm here in the backyard of this Loma Linda home, speaking to the men who live here. You see Pat behind me and Steve. He lives on the property, and they made a pretty chilling discovery Sunday morning. Steve came out here to, heat up his coffee here in this fireplace as he normally does, and he wanted to collect some kindling. So he came over here to this tree and started grabbing some of the dry branches when he made a discovery that made his heart drop. He said his stomach just sank. What appeared to be a human bone, what he thought was a human leg bone, just lying here in this tree. Yeah, just a single bone, but he actually grabbed it, went inside, was trying to contact the coroner, eventually contacted the San Bernardino County Sheriff investigators to come out here and take a look at the bone that he found, because he didn't know if it was in fact human, if it was animal, even how it got here, if there were more bones inside of this tree. So investigators came, they put up crime tape, detectives, they scoured the area, and according to those detectives, they found other human remains, various bones that are now being examined and autopsied so that they can determine the identity and the cause of death, hopefully. But we are hearing more from Steve and Pat. They've lived here. Pat has lived here since the 80s and never has discovered or found anything like this. Steve says, you know, this property butts up to a restaurant and a bar and of course the roadway, so he wonders if someone tossed it over the fence, if someone came in here and placed it. He just doesn't know. He says it's a mystery to him. So you're going to hear from them. You're going to hear the latest from investigators, all coming up on Kcal News at 4 and 5.
All right, Jasmine, thank you. Turning now to our weather, a live look at Long Beach, where the sun is out on this Monday afternoon, but it's a different story for some inland communities. Kcal News meteorologist Olga Ospina has your next weather. Hi, Olga.
Yeah, hi, Amy. And look at this shot. It just kind of depends on where you are today, because we are still seeing some cloud cover out there for a lot of us. So some slow clearing, even where you are seeing some sunshine now, keeping temperatures down. Long Beach checking in at 70 degrees and still some cloudy skies there. Here's a look at our radar. So some of those inland spots, yes, seeing some sunshine out through places like the Antelope Valley, parts of the Inland Empire in the last hour or two, starting to see some sun. But a lot of areas through the LA basin and especially the coastline still seeing plenty of cloud cover, and that has temperatures down compared to yesterday when we saw earlier clearing. Numbers outside right now, most of us still in the 60s. We have 64 in Santa Clarita, 66 in Van Nuys, even up in the Antelope Valley, 64 in Palmdale. As we head into the LA area, very few 70s. Again, 70 in Long Beach, but 62 in Pasadena. As we head into Orange County, low 60s in Irvine, into the Newport coast, 70 in Mission Viejo, and Inland Empire also very mild, plenty of 60s, low 70s in San Bernardino, into Moreno Valley, and 57 for Big Bear City. Here's a look at what's happening over the next 12 hours. Irvine, you will stay in the 60s this afternoon, really with not a whole lot of clearing by the 3 o'clock hour, just in the mid 60s, and then dropping back down into the low 60s by 8 o'clock this evening. Numbers this afternoon still running below average. That's been the trend these last several days. 65 along the coast, upper 60s for LAOC Metro, low 70s for some of our valleys into the Inland Empire, but that's just for some of you. Some of you will not get out of the 60s, mid 70s for the high desert, and upper 50s across our mountain communities. Winds still an issue for some of us. It is breezy for some of our deserts and mountains, with gusts in the 20s and in the 30s, nearing 40 miles per hour through parts of the Antelope Valley. And it's exactly there, that western part of the Antelope Valley, the foothill areas, under a wind advisory, and that's going to continue through 9 tonight. We saw that over the weekend. We continue with those breezy conditions, and Futurecast showing us we're also going to continue with dry conditions, aside from a little bit of drizzle that we're getting from that really deep marine layer. So today, still that area of low pressure with us, but as it starts pushing off to the east, we're going to get a bit of a bump in temperatures Tuesday into Wednesday, and then numbers drop once again as we have another area of low pressure impacting us to our north. It's not going to bring us rain, but again, it's going to cool us down once again, and still that marine layer is going to stick around. That May-gray pattern continues into the weekend before, look at this, by Monday, that's going to be your Memorial Day Monday. Good news there. Temperatures start to rise as that area of high pressure starts to move in, and we're looking at comfortable temperatures for the holiday. But for LA, Inland, Orange County, we're looking at low 70s and upper 60s. You'll feel that warm up more so as we head a little further inland. For some of our valleys, upper 70s tomorrow into Wednesday, low 70s return by Thursday, and there's that bit of a warm up as we head into Memorial Day Monday. For the Inland Empire, also upper 70s. We could even see a few low 80s by tomorrow into Wednesday. Wednesday, the cool down and then that warm up once again early next week. Here's a check of our deserts, mountains, beaches. Not a whole lot of changes. Mid to upper 60s. Not going to be the best beach weather this upcoming week, but if you head inland, especially tomorrow into Wednesday, those are expected to be some of those warmer days as well as your Memorial Day Monday. So good timing on that, Amy.
All right, Olga, thanks so much. This has been CBS News Los Angeles, The Rundown. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll be back live at 3 o'clock here on CBS News Los Angeles.
CBS News Los Angeles, your local news, streaming wherever, whenever.